It is 5:30 p.m. on a Friday. You finished a 45-hour work week, you're physically stuck in evening traffic, and your brain is completely fried. The idea of going home and cooking a meal seems about as appealing as climbing Mount Everest. You pull up a delivery app and order Thai food or a pizza for $45, including the tip and fees, simply to buy back some of your remaining energy. You get home, sink into the couch, crack open a beverage, and tell yourself that you earned it. Mathematically, the price of that pizza includes the gas you burned driving home, the depreciation on your office attire, and the stress that made cooking feel impossible. These are the hidden taxes reducing your net income. Most career advice ties your value to a gross annual salary. The assumption is that $65,000 a year equates to a respectable $31 an hour. In corporate finance, a company tracks the cost of goods sold. If a bakery sells $1 million worth of bread, but spends $1 million on flour and rent, the business is worth zero. When it comes to our own labor, we often ignore our own operating costs. In the modern employment market, you are the product. By ignoring the financial cost of selling yourself to an employer, you are selling your labor at a loss. Consider a worker named James. He earns $31 an hour on paper. To find his real wage, we have to perform a forensic audit of his life. Before the money hits his account, the government takes federal taxes, state taxes, and FICA, shaving his hourly rate down to a $24 baseline. Next, we subtract mandatory job-dependent costs. James spends thousands every year on gas, car maintenance, and insurance, specifically for the purpose of reaching the office. Then there is the cost of appearance. Business casual clothes and dry cleaning are mandatory business expenses placed entirely on the employee. Because James is at the office from 9 to 5, he ends up outsourcing his life. He buys lunches, $5 coffees for energy, and pays a dog walker because he isn't home. Finally, we deduct decompression spending, the Friday bar tabs and retail therapy used to heal the damage the job inflicts on his psyche. His real take-home pay has plummeted from $65,000 to roughly $35,000. James spends nearly half his income purely to sustain the privilege of having his job. Now, when he gets home, he spends time decompressing or checking emails on his phone. This is time that belongs to the job, and it pushes his total commitment to 60 hours a week, or 3,000 hours a year. The math proves that when you divide that reduced net income by the inflated true hours, James's $31 wage evaporates. He is actually earning $11 an hour. This is often less than the teenager flipping burgers down the street, who has zero overhead costs and leaves his stress at the fry station. James has been trapped in a high-churn, low-margin business model where he absorbs all the operating costs of his own labor. This audit provides the clarity needed to drive ruthless personal efficiency. Knowing your true wage changes your relationship with consumerism. You start to translate every price tag into hours of your life. If your real wage is $10 an hour, a $100 pair of shoes costs 10 hours of your lifespan. You have to determine if those shoes are worth 10 hours of sitting in traffic and dealing with passive-aggressive emails. This logic exposes the golden handcuffs. A $10,000 raise often lowers your true hourly wage because it comes with a higher cost of takeout, nicer clothes, and more expensive vacations to manage the stress. The system relies on you being too exhausted to run these numbers. It wants you to remain a passive consumer of your own life, buying things to tolerate the job you need to pay for those same things. A smart business owner focuses on increasing their margin. You must treat your life like a business by optimizing the time and money you have left over after the costs of work are paid. You can give yourself a raise by cutting work expenses. Negotiating a work-from-home schedule saves gas and time. Meal prepping on Sundays lowers your cost of goods sold. Sit down this weekend and calculate your real hourly wage. Write that number on a sticky note and put it directly on your credit card. This creates the friction necessary to stop mindless spending. It forces you to decide if a purchase is worth the specific number of hours you spent at your desk to afford it. The goal is to build a gap between your income and your expenses. That gap is where your freedom lives.